I got the message while folding laundry. "Hey, did you hear what happened at the warehouse?" Lisa never texted me during work hours unless it was serious. I called her right back. The moment she picked up, I could hear panic behind her voice. "James. Missed the delivery window, Mary. The truck was stuck here all morning. The fireworks order for the 4th. It's ruined." My stomach dropped. I was in Florida with my kids, trying to enjoy my first real break in years. It was supposed to be a week of peace. I stared at the ocean. I couldn't breathe. Let me rewind. James is my half-brother. Same father, different mothers. He grew up being told he was brilliant, special, untouchable. I grew up being told to be responsible. Dad said it was just how things were. Our family owns a seasonal wholesale business. Flags, party kits, backyard decor, you name it. The 4th of July is the big one. You miss that week, you bleed for the rest of the year. 2 weeks before the holiday rush, James told me I was too controlling. "Mary, you act like this place would fall apart without you," he smirked. So I did what I never do. I left. I booked the trip, didn't even warn anyone. Just sent a calendar note to Dad. Vacation, June 26th, July 4th. No explanation. 2. Be honest, I wanted them to see how much I do, how much they expect, without ever asking James for the same. And now the warehouse was a mess. Lisa told me James approved a cheaper supplier without checking the specs. The packaging was off. The inventory system didn't register the pallets. They tried to cover it up until the delivery truck left. But the wrong sizes meant the displays wouldn't work. Retailers canceled last minute. The worst part? James wasn't even at work the day the shipment arrived. He had called in exhausted. He'd partied the night before, posted it all, over Instagram. Dad tried to salvage it. He brought in extra hands, paid a rush fee. But we missed 2 contracts and got hit with a state compliance penalty, a $22,000 mistake. All because no one checked the order forms. Lisa said Dad nearly lost it when he saw the fine. She overheard him in his office muttering, "I warned him. I told him to double check." But of course, Juliet walked in, James's mother. And the moment she opened her mouth, Dad went quiet. Just like always. I sat there on the balcony, staring at the waves. I had wanted rest. I got revenge. And I didn't even have to lift a finger. When I got back, no one said it out loud. Dad greeted me with a hug that lasted 2 seconds too long. Juliet barely looked up from her tablet. James gave me his usual, "Hey," like nothing had happened. Like he hadn't nearly sunk our biggest sales window of the year. The office felt different, quieter, more cautious. Lisa met me at the stairwell. "Things were tense," she whispered. "Your dad almost canceled the staff BBQ. James tried to spin it like it was a software glitch. Classic." I went straight to my desk. A stack of reports was waiting. Lisa had printed them out, highlighted the disaster. James had approved the order with a supplier we'd blacklisted 2 years ago for inconsistencies. They sent generic product with the wrong flags, some with the wrong state seals. One batch even had Happy Canada Day written on them. You couldn't make this up. I stared at the numbers. $22,000 in penalties. 3 lost clients. One major distributor who asked, point blank, "What's going on over there?" And still, no one said a word to James. I found Dad in the storage room, digging through boxes like it was a crime scene. He looked up, eyes tired. "I thought you were going to be gone longer," he said. I shrugged. "Flight got in early." He nodded, like that explained everything. Then his voice dropped. "Mary, I should have had you look over that invoice." James said it was handled. There it was. Almost an admission. Almost. "He needs to take this seriously," I said, careful not to raise my voice. "He will," Dad muttered. "He's just figuring it out." No, Dad, he's not. And you know it. Silence. Then, Juliet's heels clicked down the hallway. Dad straightened his back and changed the subject, like clockwork. That night, I opened my inbox and found a message from one of our oldest suppliers. A woman named Carla. She'd heard about what happened. She also heard I was the one who usually fixed things. "I'm expanding," she wrote. "If you ever want to run something of your own, no partners, I'd back you." I stared at the message. James got drunk and almost tanked the company. Dad stayed quiet. Juliet looked the other way. And someone out there saw my worth. Someone outside that building. Outside that family. It was the first time I thought about leaving. Really leaving. I didn't answer Carla's message. Not that day. Instead, I showed up early the next morning. The office lights were still off. James's desk was empty, as usual. I stood in the break room, coffee in hand, watching the team arrive one by one. They smiled at me differently. Like I was the adult back in the room, like they had been waiting for someone to take the wheel again. Lisa handed me a file. "He hasn't corrected the July ledger," she said, barely above a whisper. "We're 3 days late on quarterly filings. He said he was busy reviewing metrics." I blinked. This was beyond lazy. It was sabotage by negligence. I walked straight into my dad's office. He looked up from his tablet, startled. "Did you know we're 3 days behind?" I asked. He nodded. "James said he had it under control." James always says that. I tossed the file onto his desk. "Do you realize what happens if we delay one more day? We lose our automatic vendor status. That means every future contract requires reapproval." He rubbed his forehead. "I'll talk to him." "No, Dad. I'll handle it." I turned around. Before he could say no, James was lounging in his chair, scrolling through TikTok with one hand, holding an energy drink in the other. "We need to talk," I said. He didn't look up. "Shoot. I just did your job for the 4th time this month." He laughed, like I'd told a joke. "You're always so dramatic. You missed the filing deadline. You ignored the vendor specs. You ordered from the wrong supplier. You lied about it to Dad." He smirked. "And you're still here cleaning it up. So what does that make you?" That hit harder than I expected. Later that day, I called Carla. That night, Dad knocked on my apartment door. "I heard you talk to Carla." I said nothing. "She's a shark. She'll eat you alive." I looked at him. I'd rather be eaten than disappear. I didn't say anything when Dad left. I closed the door slowly and sat on the couch like a ghost, staring at nothing. He knew. He saw the mess James made. He felt the fear in the staff, the financial reports, the vendors pulling out. But still, he said nothing that sounded like responsibility. He didn't say, "Mary, I failed you." He didn't say, "You were right all along." Just silence, which somehow hurt more than anything else. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling fan. I thought about every dinner I skipped, every family trip I canceled, every Friday night I worked late while James was out partying. I thought about the birthday I missed for my son, because Juliet begged me to handle a client meeting James forgot. I gave up years for that company. And now? Now I was the one packing up my desk. Lisa met me at the office the next morning. Her eyes were red. "Don't do this, Mare." "It's done." She handed me a folder. It was from Carla. The offer: co-founder in a boutique agency, full control over operations, my own team, a salary I could actually breathe with. "Take it," Lisa whispered. "Build something that's yours." So I did. I signed. And I walked out without looking back. James? He was celebrating like he'd just won a CEO award. Told people I had a midlife meltdown, that I couldn't handle the heat. Dad just stood by, pretending not to hear. Juliet didn't pretend. She said it outright at a dinner. Honestly, I think it's good for Mary. She needed a break. Maybe she can find a hobby now. I sipped my wine, smiled, and said nothing. But inside, I was done playing small to make everyone else comfortable. The crash came faster than I expected. James approved a bulk purchase without checking the supplier code. Wrong product. Didn't fit the machines. A one-day delay turned into 3. The penalty? $42,000. Why? Because the deadline was tied to a government supply bid, and they don't forgive missed dates, even by hours. Worse? He'd filed a tax report late, which triggered an audit. And my dad? He was the contact person. I didn't find out from him. I found out from Lisa. She called me on a Friday afternoon, whispering like she was in a spy movie. You won't believe what James did this time, and she told me everything. When Lisa finished telling me, I didn't speak for a long time. I stared at the phone in my hand. My kids were playing in the sand a few meters away. My husband had just walked back with ice cream cones. I was supposed to be on vacation. For the first time in years, I'd stepped away. Let go. Trusted them to handle it. And they blew it. Are they going to tell me? I asked. Lisa hesitated. Your dad doesn't know I called. Of course not, because he was still covering for James. Still trying to manage the storm quietly, like always. But this wasn't a light drizzle. It was a tornado with his golden boy at the center of it. Mary, Lisa lowered her voice. They don't know what to do without you. I didn't answer, because deep down, I already knew that. That night, Juliet sent a message. Just a short one. Hope you're enjoying your time off. The kids look adorable in the photos. I almost laughed. Not a word about the business. Not a word about James. Just another polished mask. The audit was real. And nasty. They found the late filing. They found inconsistencies in inventory reports. They asked for vendor contracts that didn't exist. James had signed off on everything without cross-checking. My father tried to fix it, but he didn't even know where the files were, and I wasn't there to clean it up. Lisa told me that on Thursday, my dad sat in his office staring at an empty whiteboard for 2 hours. She said the team was falling apart. No one trusted James. Vendors were hesitating. The bank had called. I should have felt sorry. I didn't. I felt still, like I'd finally stepped out of a storm I never signed up for and left the umbrella behind. On the last day of vacation, we went on a boat tour. My husband held my hand, and the kids fed crackers to seagulls. I took a deep breath and thought, this is what I've been missing. I didn't respond to the calls. I didn't offer help. I didn't fix it. Because it wasn't mine to fix anymore. When I got back, the silence was loud. No one rushed to greet me. No update meeting. Not even a welcome back from Juliet. I walked through the building like a guest. People nodded awkwardly. One guy looked like he wanted to say something but didn't. In my office, my chair had been moved. James was using it now. Mine was in the corner. Cute. Lisa handed me a thick folder. Everything they tried to hide, she said. I flipped through it. Invoices that didn't match. Emails unanswered. Delayed shipments. Supplier complaints. I didn't need revenge. I had records. My father asked to talk. We sat down in the conference room. He looked older, more tired than I'd ever seen him. He cleared his throat. Mary, I may have made a mistake. I didn't blink. I just waited. James was overwhelmed. He didn't tell us everything. And Juliet was just trying to keep things calm. Of course, I said. He swallowed. You were right to take that break. I should have handled things differently. Juliet opened the door. Everything okay? She asked sweetly. I smiled. For me? Absolutely. By Friday, I'd made my decision. I gave them 2 options. I stay, on my terms. James steps down from operations. I leave, quietly. But I take my client list with me. They picked option 2. A month later, I opened my own boutique firm. Lean team, clean contracts, no shouting, no begging for respect. One client said, "You're not what I expected, but you're exactly what I needed." That night, I went home early. My daughter showed me a picture she drew, me sitting at a desk, smiling. I didn't do it just for revenge. I did it because I needed to breathe. I'd canceled too many trips, missed too many birthdays, held everything up while others played boss. But Juliet's face when Dad said, "Mary's business is doing well, we should have trusted her more," was the most expensive gift I never paid for, and worth every silent second I waited to hear. And months later, Grandma hosted one of her rare Sunday gatherings. Same couch, same mismatched tablecloths. But this time, I wasn't the one in the kitchen. I arrived with my own schedule, my own peace. James wasn't there. Lisa said he enrolled in a grad program out of state, but everyone knew he just couldn't handle the mess he helped create. Juliet tried to act like usual, but when she walked past me and caught sight of my blazer with the company pin, she paused. "Guess you really were the backbone, huh?" Her smile was tight. Her voice carried that old sarcasm, but behind it, admission. Dad just gave a long look. He didn't apologize, but he didn't defend her either. That was enough. Later, my aunt asked if I missed the family business. I sipped my coffee, smiled, lightly. I miss myself a lot less these days. I didn't burn bridges, but I stopped waiting for anyone to meet me halfway. That was my freedom. And Juliet? Well, seeing her swallow her pride in Grandma's living room, that was dessert. If you've ever been overlooked until your absence made noise, if you've ever held your breath while others took your air, then this story, it's yours too. Don't just disappear. Show them who they lost. Subscribe now. New stories every day at 8 a.m.